Hello everyone,
Good morning.
I'm back. Thank you to Shakura for taking the class last week. I really enjoyed it. I was actually at home taking the class. I know why you like it so much now. So it's time to say hi in the chat. I'm just going to put my message in for you all.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, Kat's on the chat today. Hiya James, Elizabeth, first to post, Linda, Christine from Zurich, Anne and Chris and I, and Lynn. Morning everyone. Okay, so I thought what we'd do today is just check in a little bit with the zones because we haven't done that for a little while. And also it's a big week this week because it's the very last week of the fire element. So we've actually gone all the way down the heart channel and the heart protector channel. We've gone all the way up and we're going to finish somewhere in the head, which is the end of the small intestine channel. So I'm going to be reinforcing that today to give you an idea of where those channels are, what they do, so you can build them into your daily routine. And if you've got any particular issues, then we can do it. So let's just get straight on. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get you to check in to see what zones, we're going to find out how you are and see what kind of zone you think you're in. Now, I think, if you remember, we did this a few months ago now, there's 3 different states of the nervous system. And what we're looking for is we're looking to get down into that green zone where we can be engaged, socially engaged, joyful in the moment, and grounded. Now, what's happened during the coronavirus, of course, if you've seen that, a lot of people have been pushed into flight or fight, hoarding, things like that, food, and we've seen some sort of very stressed out behavior. And that's just a natural thing when we're under stress and the adrenal system and the nervous system becomes active. It's okay if it lasts for a while and we can go back down into the green zone, but when we stay in the red zone for too long, we start to get some physical problems, such as stress, building up in the body, adrenal exhaustion and things like that. Now, what's also happened in the coronavirus is when people have been isolated, they've been pushed into the blue zone. That's when we go into the final stage of protecting ourselves. We start to shut down and we kind of freeze up. So let's just find out where we are as a group. Just have a look at that chart and just think which zone you're in, whether you think you're in the green, red or blue or a mixture. And I'm just going to run the poll and just get some feedback from you because that will affect a bit on how we do the exercises. So which zone do you think you are in at the moment? Let's just see if we've got anyone who's right in the blue zone. Not yet so far. Okay, all right. Well, actually, we're not doing too badly as a group. We mostly green and red is okay as long as you can get back down to that green zone. I think that's going to be the emphasis of today's class. We're going to try and just kind of de-stress. And those of you, got one person who's going between the red and the blue, so we'd really like to look after you and get you down to deactivate down into the red zone and then hopefully start touching that green zone a bit more. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for that feedback. And let's get straight on with the class. I'm going to do the body scans and then we'll find out which burner you want to work on, and then we'll design the session with special emphasis on finishing up the fire element. So if you'd like to follow along with me, I'm going to do the scans. If you've got a piece of paper, like I've got right here and my pen, I'm going to do them standing up today. Why don't we do them all together in one exercise, and we'll just draw them and see how we get on. So first of all, we're going to do a whole body scan. This is focusing technique. It's to find out where we feel blocked, weak, or whether we're holding anything. We do that by just standing. We're going to just relax a little bit. We don't want to loosen or release too much because we want to find out how we actually are right now. And then we can check in at the end and see how much change we've got. So let's just scan through our body from the top. Just tune into your head. Okay, just tuning into our head and our jaw, eyes, ears. That's going to be important later on for point of the week. Through the jaw, through the throat, through the upper body and shoulders. We're just checking out our arms. Down through the body, through the chest, down through the abdomen, into the hips, down through the knees, and then the ankles and feet. And now just relax for a second, tune to your whole body. Now we've scanned down, and just see if you can get a picture of your whole energy field. In your body, how do you feel? Okay, you got it? So now I'm going to do a quick sketch. Let's just give ourselves a minute just to sketch that and just see how we are. And if you're regular, you can just think back and see how you've been over the last few weeks. Maybe you can remember how you were last week. Okay. And bear this in mind when you're doing the class today. Just bear that in mind. So when we get to exercises that affect certain parts of the body, then we can always focus in on that and focus the exercises so you can adapt them for your own use. Okay, so now we come to the famous 3 burner scan. I'm going to check into the 3 burning spaces and see how we're doing. Okay, ready? So I'm going to draw my 3 burning space chart, and I'm just going to stand up again, and we're going to just tune to the lower, middle and upper burners. So let's do it all in one sweep, and then we'll compare them, and then we'll draw them on our chart. Okay, are you ready? So we're just going to stand. This time we're going to relax our feet a little bit, just so that we're nice and firmly connected to the earth, and relaxing the head and creating a bit of space here in the whole torso. Okay, so now it's the lower burner, that's below the navel, right the way round into the sacrum. I'm going to close my eyes now and just go internally and just see what that feels like. Okay, got it? I'm going to remember that. Now we're going to shift our awareness up into the middle burner, that's below the diaphragm, and around into the lower thoracic. Okay, and ask yourself the question, does it feel exactly the same internally as the lower burner? And if it doesn't, what's the difference? Okay, very good. And now we're going up into the upper burner. And we're going to check it out. Okay, whoa, okay, so now compare all 3. Imagine what they'd look like if we drew them, and then we're going to draw them in. Bit of a surprise for me this week, very different from my normal pattern. It must be Shakura's session last week, gave me a bit of a break and transformed me. Thank you for that, Shakura. Okay, so what have we got? Yeah, very different. So just have a quick sketch, see how you are. And if you remember, the lower burner should feel kind of strong and kind of stable, calm feeling in the lower burner, but solid. Middle burner is best if it's kind of open and quite free. You definitely don't want any heat in the middle burner. And the same with the upper burner. It should feel kind of open, a bit like a mist. Again, you don't want any heat or any obstruction there in the upper burner. So which one would you like to work on today? I'm going to find the 3 burner poll. Which burner would you like to work on most today? Let's see what the group vote for. What do you think? I'm going to actually shift my... Last time we did this, we had quite a big majority for the upper burner. And about 2 months ago, we had several weeks where the lower burner was way out ahead. But look what's happened now. We're going back into the upper burner. So that means it's perfect for today because it's the fire element. But also, it's interesting because that's where we process emotions. And maybe there's lots of emotional stuff going on as the pandemic is kind of like getting to another phase now, and we don't quite know what we're doing and things like that, depending on which country you're in. So maybe there's some emotional processing going on there in the middle and upper burner. Okay, and if you've got the lower burner, if you go to the lower burner, we're going to start off with that because that's, in a way, the most important of all 3 burners to root everything down. Okay, thank you for that. It's great to check in with you. And so let's start and see what we can do. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start off by just connecting with heaven and earth because that's the kind of fundamental thing to do before we start anything else. So let's just do that. Let's just stand and we're just going to tune into our whole energy and just notice whether we are kind of floating out like this or whether we're kind of sinking down and feeling too heavy. what we're looking for is a balance between yin and yang. So we're looking for a solidity in the body, solid feeling in the body, connected to the earth, but we also want that yang energy, which is that lightness, which we associate with connecting with the top of our head. We bring that into our whole body. And lots of Qi Gong and Tai Chi and things like that is based on creating that beautiful balance in our body of feeling solid, but not too heavy, solid, and light, but not kind of floating up like this. Okay, so let's just work on that for a second. Okay, I'd like you to just concentrate on the top of your head, relax your sacrum down. And we're going to start off the whole session with just 3 Tai Chi type breaths, and we're going to just adjust our heaven and earth connection. So open up that kidney 1, okay, and then we're going to do 1 breath, breathing in, okay, and breathing out. And as we're doing this, what we're doing is we're checking out to see how we're connected to the earth. Okay, and how we're connected to heaven. 1 more, breathing in. Relax the base of that cranium to get that head floating up. Okay, now remember what that felt like, and we'll try it in about 55 minutes or 50 minutes time. We'll try it again, and we'll just see how different that feels once we've done the exercises. Okay, we're going to start off with one of the most popular exercises, and I know that because we did a poll about that a few weeks ago. One of the things that we really like is shaking, and I know why as well, because shaking is good for the blue zone and the red zone. The blue zone, it will shake you and it makes you aware and it will unfreeze your body. Particularly good for getting out of the red zone and into the green zone, because we want to release any tension that we might build up when we get that adrenal overdrive and we start to store tension up in the body. So let's start off with a nice, easy bit of relaxation, shaking. We're going to start off with the first major jaw joint in the body, if you come down from the top of your head, and that's the jaw. So I'm going to just kind of let my jaw go. Okay, and I'm going to just bounce a bit and let my jaw just open up. Okay, I'm just going to press a little bit around, doing a little bit of self shiatsu around the jaw, just to bring my awareness there. Okay, let that jaw go, and we're going to relax the tongue as well. The tongue is actually related to the fire element in Chinese medicine because it's to do with the speech. So stammering, for example, is associated with the heart meridian disturbance. We're going to relax the tongue as well, and the jaw. Just start shaking, nice and easy. Just relaxing the tongue in my mouth, shaking that jaw. Okay, very good. Now we're going to focus on the base of the cranium around here, and we're going to get that string, lifting the head up, creating space at the base of the cranium, and let our whole spine just feel like it's just hanging down like a string of pearls from the top, from the head that's suspended by this thread. Okay, that's the idea. That's the visualization. Keeping the throat relaxed, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the throat. Very good. Okay, now keep going until you've got the throat nice and relaxed. Okay, it's looking good. Okay, so keeping that bouncing, we're going to extend that into the shoulders now. We're going to lift the shoulders up and shake them out. Lift them up and shake them out. Okay, I'm still keeping my jaw, keeping my jaw relaxed, the tongue relaxed, throat relaxed, and now into the shoulders. Okay, now remember that egg under the armpit? Let's get that egg under the armpit. That's heart 1. Remember that? That was 10 weeks ago we did that, believe it or not. So now we're relaxing down the arms, relaxing those elbows. And right down into the fingertips. We're keeping that jaw relaxed, keeping the base of the cranium relaxed and floating and shaking, relaxing the throat, building in the shoulders and the arms. Very good. Okay, so now we can go down into the chest area, and we can start shaking this way, because what this does is it opens up the sternum and the thoracic spine. So rather than just bouncing up and down, we're also bouncing up and down and stretching in and out and releasing the ribs here as they connect to the sternum and onto the back. Okay, so we've got all these ribs here, they connect the sternum, it's kind of like a whole structure there. It's related to the upper burner, and it's a good idea to get that as loose as we can. Shaking and relaxing. Very good. Keep the head floating up, keep that jaw relaxing, keep the throat relaxed, keep the shoulders relaxed, and right down the arms. So just building up as we go. We've got down to the diaphragm now, which is a really important place to relax. It's kind of hard to feel it as well. It's right in here underneath the ribs. If you just give yourself a bit of a press as we're shaking, just to get in touch with that. If you can feel any tension or stiffness here, it's a good chance that your diaphragm needs releasing. And we can just bring our attention into there, take some deep breaths, and shake all around here, the lower thoracic. Just do a little bit more, get that diaphragm really released. And then go back, checking the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the chest, and the diaphragm. Okay, excellent. Okay, so let's go down into the abdominal area, and we've got all these abdominal organs. They really don't like getting stuck. They do not like being stuck. So giving them a bit of a shake and letting them move around a bit is a really good idea, just to make sure that they're all floating around inside the abdominal cavity. So let's just give our internal organs a bit of a shake, nice and gentle. We just encourage them to relax. We're bringing our mind down into the abdomen. Any areas that feel uncomfortable or a little bit blocked, we're just going to give them a bit of an extra shake. Excellent. And then we're going to go down into the hips. It's the biggest joint in the body, and it's a really good idea to get that hip released. As you probably remember, the gallbladder channel dominates the whole hip, and it's often involved in sciatica and things like that, and hip stiffness. So we're going to just give those hips a bit of a relax, but we're not going to forget to join them up. So we're going to relax the jaw, relax the throat, relax the shoulders, relax the arms, relax the chest, let go of the diaphragm, shake the internal organs, and drop down into the hips. Yes, okay, that's it. Right down into the hips. And we're going to bounce there, shaking, moving those hips about, shake the legs out, relaxing the knees, and then down into the ankles. Okay, very good. So should we try and join it all up one more time? So let's get the jaw relaxed, tongue relaxed, throat, shoulders, chest, arms, diaphragm, abdomen, hips, knees, and ankles and feet. All together. Okay, excellent. Isn't that great? Doesn't that feel great? So that's a really good way of releasing any tension that builds up, especially if you start going into that red zone. Okay, so there's two sides to Chinese medicine. You probably realize in Taoism and everything, and that's yin and yang. So what we're doing with this is we're releasing any kind of yang, any obstructions that build up in the body. The other side of it, which is a bit more subtle, but just as important, is to build up our yin. And that's a kind of calming internal feeling that connects with the earth. And you guessed it, that point, the most famous point in the body for doing that, well known in Qi Gong and Tai Chi and Shiatsu and acupuncture, is kidney 1, the bubbling spring point. And what we're going to do is we're going to feel just how amazingly awesome that point is, because we're going to stimulate it, and then we're going to stand up again and see what happens. Let me bring the chair in here. I do like doing it on the chair. Okay, so I'm going to take my socks off so you can see. Just in case you're new to the class and you missed the water element, kidney 1 is 1/3 of the distance down the midline of the foot. So it's right there, the bubbling spring point, and we're going to give this a really good working. I like to press in and open these channels on the top of the foot, and the reason for that is this is the yin part of the foot, because it connects with the earth, and these are the yang channels that run down. We've got the gallbladder, various yang channels that go down there, the bladder, triple heater, and stomach in certain systems. But basically, this is the yang part of the foot. So we're opening up the yang side of the foot and we're pressing in to the kidney 1. Very good. Okay, so now let's give it a good bit of doing. We're going to give it a good stimulation. We're going to open up kidney 1. Kidney 1 is a really important channel because it links directly with the lower burner. We're going to feel that in a minute when we stand up, I'm sure. Okay, so let's give kidney 1 a really good. Also, another thing that if you get into the red zone, what can happen is you can get feelings of dizziness, feelings of energy going into the head. It's all to do with the adrenal response. And if you feel yourself going into that manic kind of overdrive, where you can't relax, maybe you can't sleep, stuff like that, what I recommend you do is just spend 10 minutes a day doing the shaking nice and gently, and then just work on kidney 1, because kidney 1 is a renowned point for tonifying the yin of the body, and it's particularly used to take heat away from the head and activity away from the head. So if you get that, if you get some insomnia because you can't relax, you can't open, you can't just calm your mind down, I would recommend just hitting the soles of your foot for 5 minutes before you go to bed. Just nice and gently, just get that yin tonified. Okay, pretty good. Does it feel good? Yeah, excellent. So we do the other foot. So we get kidney 1, it's in exactly the same place on the other foot. So we're going to press in, opening up the foot. And tap in. One thing you do is just bash your feet on the floor like this. And let's stand up again. And what should have happened, and we'll see in a minute, is our yin should have been tonified. So that's probably the most important thing to get us out of that red zone. Let's see what we feel like now. Okay, so standing again. Okay, how about that? Can you feel that? There's a feeling of melting into the floor, but it's a soft feeling of connecting with the earth. And it's that soft and heavy feeling that we're really looking for, because that's a really good quality of yin. So if we can get that quality of yin all the way up, we shake the yang down, we get the yin coming up. By the end of this session, we should be totally balanced yin and yang, ready for the week. Okay, so let's see if we can get some of that yin energy into the lower burner before we start working up. And probably the best way to do that is to connect up through the kidney channel. So what we're going to do is some doing on the kidney channel. We're going to go from kidney 3 behind the ankle up into the lower burner, and then we can then energize the lower burner and we'll be off. Okay, so ready? So let's do some doing on that, and just use relaxed hands, just fingertips or loose fists. I'm coming from behind the ankle, at the back of the calves, into the back of the knees. Remember that was kidney 10, and then it comes up and actually comes through here into the top of the pubic bone, and then it goes up through the body. If you remember, up to kidney 27, we'd have an exciting time with that in another session. And then we can go round, pick up the bladder channel, which is the paired channel to the kidney. So try and stand the back of the leg, that's the yang channel, just to complete the circuit. So we go down. I usually turn my hands to the side, around the other way, because it's kind of difficult to do this. Locking at the back of the calves with the back of my hands, and then down to bladder 60. Remember that point? Qi Gong mountain, yes. Okay, and we're going to go up again. Round into bladder 36, that's the one which supports the lower back. And then down. One more time. Up the kidney channel. And down the bladder channel. Okay, lovely. Excellent. I'm going to shake out. Okay, now let's stand again. Tune into that feeling of the connection between the feet and the lower burner. It starts to tingle, isn't it? Up. And that's kind of yin energy coming up from the earth via the kidney channel. So what we're going to do now is establish the breathing in the lower dantian, because that connects right down through into kidney 1 and down into the earth. So hands one over the other. My center of my palm here is right over CV4 and CV6, which are just below the navel here. So this is my navel here, and they're just around this area here. So we can place our hand there, and we can just rub like this. Now, as we're doing that, what we're doing is establishing a connection between the feet and the lower dantian. Okay, making sure that we're floating our head up, relaxing our arms, opening up that egg underneath our armpit, tucking our tail in a bit, letting that sacrum hang down, releasing our knees and hips. And now let's see if we can imagine or feel a connection between kidney 1 up the kidney channel in the inside of the legs into this place here. And if we can do that, that's going to be anchoring and tonifying our yin in our lower dantian. And that's kind of important because that gives us that feeling of solidity and calmness which we need, especially if we start going into the red zone. Okay, very, very good. Now, if you can do this without taxing your shoulders, I recommend also working bladder 23. If it's too much for your shoulders and they're a bit stiff, just keep working the lower dantian and imagine the energy going into the back. If you can work this point here, bladder 23, that's the U point or the associated effect point for the kidney. And what we're doing is we're imagining energy going through the lower back and into the dantian, so we're kind of filling up this whole area here. Very good. Excellent. Okay. Okay, lower burner. How about that? Right, so now it's got to be time for us to move on up to the middle burner. And let's look at the poll. Yeah, we had 35% of you vote for the middle burner. So that's pretty significant. And particularly the red zone can affect the middle burner. It affects the liver and the stomach. You can sometimes get anxiety. It's the way the adrenaline affects the whole body system, and also the vagal nerve affects the digestive system as well. So what we want to do is really get that area relaxed and comfortable. And again, that sends a message to our brain that we're kind of safe and everything is fine. And that helps us relax and calm down out of that red zone. So what can happen is this whole area can get quite stiff. So let's just check in and see how we're doing. And let's just start off by doing some self-shiatsu around the diaphragm area. So I'm just tucking underneath my ribs. This is my ribs here. Look. And I'm just literally pressing in. Quick drink of water. Pressing in around underneath here. And actually this is not too bad for me today because sometimes it's quite tight on me, this area, but it's not too bad because it's always good to do some work on that. So let's do some actual Anpuku work. I think a good idea we can do is just to integrate the whole middle burner with the lower burner, which we're going to do this technique here. So not too strong, just hands just going across the surface. As we get to here, let's press in a little bit harder and release the diaphragm and the upper digestive organs. This is the liver and the stomach. Just pressing a little bit deeper here with relaxed hands to ease that area. Very good. Okay, now if we go around to the actual around the belly button and we do this, this is a spleen tonifying exercise. Again, it's for the middle burner. And if we do that, you'll feel like it'll give you a really comforting kind of relaxed feeling. And that's the earth element, which actually, just put a little commercial break here, is starting next week. Next Wednesday, we're going to start the earth 10-week cycle, so really looking forward to that. That's going to take us right through the summer. It's related in the 5 elements to the late summer, so it'll take us all the way through to the autumn, and when we'll pick up the metal element. Okay, nice, relax. Okay, let's just do a little bit of a check-in now. How are we feeling in terms of heaven and earth? Feeling a little bit more stable, a little bit more released than we were at the beginning of the session? Does that head just feel a little bit more comfortable on your head? Your jaw feels relaxed and the shoulders relaxed. Okay, that's really good. Part of that feeling of solidity again comes from the middle burner, which provides that. Now, how about we do the swinging exercise? Just to, if any of you have got a little bit more tension here, which is a good exercise generally. Head floats up from the top, the sacrum hangs down, and we feel like we're just like being twizzled around on a string. So the string gets twizzled and we go with it. And we can focus it in different places, but today we're going to focus it into the middle burner and particularly the diaphragm. So if we just concentrate on that area where we just pressed in, and as we get to the maximum twist, we're going to relax that diaphragm, nice and easy. We're keeping one nicely stuck to the floor, so we're nice and stable. That head's floating up, the shoulders are really relaxed. And we're releasing that middle burner. Okay, very, very good. Now we can do some doing to reinforce that. We can work the gallbladder channel. Now listen up, the gallbladder is going to be connected to our point of the week, which is on the head. Yes, so it's a very long channel that runs all the way up here. I'm not going to spoil it for you and tell you which point it is, but it links in with the point we're going to work on later in the head. It runs right down the side of the body, the gallbladder channel. It runs through the middle burner and then down the legs. Into the hips. I think you'll probably remember that from the spring when we worked this point here. So why don't we do this gallbladder channel and we'll link it into the middle burner. So we're going to start off actually here with the liver 13 and 14, and the reason for that is because we need hope, and this is what it can give us. This is the gate of hope technique that we developed when we did the wood element. We're going to work this area, and you notice that we're tapping all around the diaphragm anyway, the middle burner, so we're releasing that as we do this. Okay, now the gallbladder channel and the liver channels, they govern the sides of the body. So they're on the outside of the legs and the inside of the legs. So here we go. We go from here, down into the hips, right into gallbladder 30, which is the major point that's used for releasing the hips in Shiatsu. And we go down outside the legs. Okay. And again, let's just see if we can find anywhere that feels connected to the middle burner and the diaphragm. Some of these points, particularly this one here, gallbladder 34, just underneath the knee, is very, very powerful for releasing any blockages in the tendons and the sinews. So if you've got any blockages around the diaphragm, this is the point for you. Go down, come up the inside of the legs. And this is the liver channel, right up the inside of the legs. Okay, got it? So we've got this one. And we've got down into the gallbladder 30, down the outside of the legs, up the inside. Excellent. Okay, one more time. Yeah, gallbladder 30 is always a favourite. Down the outside of the gallbladder channel. Inside of the liver channel. Very good. Okay, excellent. I'm just going to shake out a little bit, twist a little bit, and a twist. A bit of a twist there. Any twisting exercise is good for the liver, and shaking out. Check-in time. Okay, here we are. We're standing. How are we feeling now? Pretty good. Do you feel that release around here? Feel some tingling down the legs, down the gallbladder channel. Just one other thing for the middle burner is the stomach and spleen channels. They run all the way from the head and the chest. But we're going to pick them up here along the outside of the abdominal muscle. There's some really good points here for the digestion. And we're going to go outside, the front outside of the leg is the stomach channel. So we go down the front outside of the leg. And up the inside of the leg. Up the spleen. down the outside of the leg and up the inside. Into the abdomen and down the outside of the leg. And this finishes off all the channels in the leg and it also completes the connection with the lower burner and the middle burner. So we've got gallbladder, liver, stomach and spleen connecting to the middle burner, and we've got the kidney and bladder meridians connecting into the lower burner. Okay, got it? So now all we've got left is the upper burner, which is just as well, because a massive 48% of you voted for that, which is a pretty big majority there. So we better do a good job on that, and especially as we're going to put in point of the week. Okay, so we've got the upper burner. Now that's basically governed by the heart and the lungs. So the lung channel runs down into the thumb, and its paired channel runs up the outside front of the arm. So basically the lung and large intestine channel run here. So what we'll do is we'll do some nice easy opening for the lung channel to start with. Just going to lift our arms up, put our thumbs out and drop them back. As we're doing this, you guessed it, we're going to open up kidney 1, keep those ankles released, open up the knees, open up the hips, feel that connection with the earth. Okay, and now we're going to float the head up. Keep the opening up the front of the shoulders. That's it. Now, if you bring your thumbs out slightly, that'll open up lung 1 even more, which is right in here. More on that point in the autumn, where we get round to the metal element. Okay, very good. And this is actually a medical Qi Gong exercise for lung problems. And a friend of mine went to China, and she went to a Qi Gong hospital, and they had a massive hall of people in the respiratory department, and they were all doing these type of exercises every day for like an hour or 2 a day, all the patients, rather than just lying in bed. They would have them all up doing Qi Gong to help healing their lung issues that they've got in hospital. So if you've got any breathing problems, maybe some hay fever, you want to keep the lungs nice and clear, you might want to do this exercise nice and easy. It's designed not to be strenuous, it's just an open, nice, easy, relaxed exercise. Okay, and even just doing it for a few minutes, you can feel this tingling feeling and opening feeling down into the thumb. That's the lung channel. Okay, and then we have the fire element channels, and this is our big moment because it's the last one of this cycle of 10 weeks. And the way it goes basically is this: the pericardium and the heart channels run down the inside arm and down into the little finger and this middle finger here. And they basically connect into the heart organ. The yang channels run from the head, small intestine, the triple heater, run down this way, and they run down the back of the arm. And they are mainly used to treat the head, and we've explored them already in this cycle. So what we're doing essentially when we do this cycle of going is we're opening and spreading out and creating space here in the chest for the heart, and we're also working the channels that supply energy to the head to keep them clear so that we don't get headaches and eye problems and stuff like that. So let's try it. Should we do that I think we do that as a little circuit. Let's try stretching first of all, feet connected to the earth, head floating up, bringing our hands up like this, breathing in, breathing out. Am I going to hit my plant? Not quite. Brilliant. Breathe out. Oh, I did. Just to hit my plant just a bit there. There we are. Okay, and just get a sense of what that feels like in the chest. Breathing in. That's the pericardium channel stretch. Got it? Okay, and if you want a heart stretch, this basically means opening up, stretching back like this, opening the armpits, breathing in, and then pressing your hands back towards the wall behind you, opening up heart 1, and you'll feel the stretch on the heart channel. Okay, a couple more breaths, breathing in. Okay, there's a side view for you. Okay, you can see that the heart channel is a bit more protected and it's a bit more internal. Okay, so let's do a little bit of doing and then we'll get on to point of the week. So what we're going to do is we're going to trace the heart channel from here, it actually starts under the armpit. It goes down here. I'm doing it very light on that. It goes down into here. Okay, heart 9, and then it goes back. I don't know if you remember these points we did the other week. Small intestine 3 goes up through here. Remember last week, Shakura did small intestine 10 with you, which is right behind the shoulder here. So you can see what happens. It goes up here into the shoulder and into the neck. Okay, so heart, down into the finger, small intestine, back up towards the shoulder. Nice and easy, nice and relaxed. Light tapping on the heart. Give it a bit of a break. Just open up the channel. Very nice. Okay, just shaking up. Do the same on the other side. So it's heart 1. And round. Small intestine. Round to the heart again. It's kind of tricky, isn't it, to get right under heart 1 and then go down this bit. It goes down here into the elbow, into there, and then down into the hand, and then back again. Okay, there's a small intestine 10 from last week. And one more down. Okay, so check this out. We've got the heart and the small intestine, which are on the back of the arm. Okay, and on the back of the legs, we have the bladder and the kidney channel. So there's a direct connection between the heart and the kidney, and between the bladder and the small intestine. Okay, because it's very simple, the channels. There's basically 6 channels down the arm, 6 down the arm, 6 down the leg, and it's basically front, side, and back. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because this one we're going to do now is heart protector. It's on the inside and the outside of the arm. So it's on the sides, inside and outside. Okay, so we have lung and large intestine here, along this edge, heart and small intestine along the back edge, and we have heart protector and triple heater along the inside and outside. The reason I'm mentioning that is because you notice that the triple heater is kind of similar to the gallbladder. The gallbladder is on the outside of the legs and the triple heater is on the outside of the arm. I'm going to find out more about that in a minute with point of the week. So let's tap down here. This is the heart protector channel. This is a really useful channel. I use this all the time, especially over the last year when people have been coming in for face-to-face sessions, even when we're doing online sessions. The reason we use it a lot is because this characteristic feeling of tightness due to emotional factors around the chest, if you get any of this kind of thing, the heart protector is the one for you. And sometimes what I do is I actually extend the dough into here, so we're opening up the chest, the channel on the chest. It's actually internal, the channel here, but we can kind of get into it by tapping fairly deeply on the lungs, and then we go straight into the middle of the arm, down here, past pericardium 6, into the palm of the hand, and then back up the triple heater channel on the outside of the arm, and that, not surprisingly, runs onto the shoulder and then runs up into the head. We'll find out a bit about that later. Remember, so okay, so we've got chest, just tapping, nice and easy, down, inside, and then up the outside. Yay. Okay, that's the other arm. So that's the other fire element channels. They're the auxiliary channels. Because you probably noticed that the mass doesn't add up. We've got 5 elements and we've got 6 pairs of channels. So there's got to be something to get 6 pairs of channels into 5 elements. And the way it's solved is because the fire element is really lucky. It has 4 channels altogether. It has the heart and small intestine and the triple heater and the heart protector. It's got 4 meridians related to the fire element. So let's get this chest area released. Okay, and then go down, up the outside of the arm. You don't need to be worried too much about the location here. It's pretty obvious. It's straight down the flat of the inside of the arm, down to the middle of the hand. That's it, nice and easy. Okay, excellent. Okay, so here we go. Shake that off, and we're going to. Okay, now let's just check in again. Let's see how we're feeling. We're going to stand again. How are we doing? Feeling nice and connected to the earth? If not, just drop your energy down into kidney 1 and connect down into the earth again. Keep that head floating up and check out the upper burner. Can you feel that tingling feeling down our arms now? That's a really nice feeling, and you should feel more space here and openness in the upper body there. Okay, super cool. Right, so let's check out and see whether the stretches have, the feeling of the stretches changed. That's an indication that we've done some change, made some change in the channel. So here we go. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe out. Okay, you feel that nice and easy now. Much more open. My arms are going much further back. That's the pericardium stretch. And what about the heart stretch? This was a bit of an effort for me before. Let's see if it changes now. Breathing in, breathing out. Yeah, a little bit more open there. Heart wants just a little bit more open. A nice, steady, calm feeling in the chest, which is what we want. We want that heart to be nice and calm. Okay, so now, before we do the head and neck, I'd like to introduce point of the week. So I'm going to get the slides up. It's a pretty useful point. We've checked that out. We've done that. We've done the zones. We've tuned in. We've done the burners. And here we are. We're at small intestine 19. Okay. And the reason I mentioned all this stuff about the channels is because it's called palace of the hearing. It's the meeting point of the small intestine triple heater and the gallbladder channels. And it has various actions. And I'm going to basically get you to activate it. I'll show you where it is, and then we're going to get activated, and then we'll do an energy exercise. We'll see what effect this point has on you, and I'm going to run a poll, and you can vote and see what dominant action you felt when you worked it. Okay, so we're going to have some fun with this. It's very easy to find. It's just ahead of the tragus nerve. So if I just bring up the picture again. Okay, the tragus is that flappy bit on front that goes in front of your ear hole. It's kind of easy to find. If I do a bit of a close-up of my ear, this is the tragus here. And if you go from the midpoint of the tragus, you go in there and you open up your jaw slightly. So like an end, I can't really talk and do it at the same time. There's an indentation there, right there. And here, you can just gently press in, and there's like a little gap there. And you want to be very careful, just gently, very light pressure. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do an energy exercise. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to just tune into my energy. You can sit or stand. I'm going to get you to activate this point, and then I'd like you to vote to see which was the dominant feeling you had from this point, because it has a variety of actions, and it just depends on your own energy which one of those actions is going to be dominant for you. So let's just tune into our energy field. We're going to just literally just relax, tune into our whole body. We need to do that because we're going to figure out what happens when we press the point. We're going to do it both sides at the same time. We're going to rub our hands together. Just going to use that index finger, just very light pressure, and we're going to tune into our whole energy field and see what happens, okay? This point is right at the end of the small intestine channel. The heart channel goes all the way down to here. The small intestine channel goes all the way up here by small intestine 10, thank you, Shakura, up here, and then it ends here. It's right at the end of the whole story. So let's see what it does. We're going to just close our eyes, shake out our wrists, bring our index finger just in front of the tragus there. We're going to slightly open our jaw and just gently press in. Not so that it's uncomfortable. Actually, you probably won't be able to hear me if you press it too hard. So just gently pressing in, just the point where you can still hear me, but you're just starting to block your ear slightly. And now relax your whole body and get a sense of where you're resonating with that point. You might feel a sensation in your ear. You might feel it in your whole head. You might feel it in the channel that goes down into the arm, down through the neck and the arm, or you may feel it as just a general feeling, a general calming feeling. They're the main actions of small intestine 19. Keeping the jaw really relaxed, you really get the benefit of that point calming Relax your jaw. Yeah, and then slowly bring our fingers away from the point. You can hear me now, can't you? I can hardly hear myself when I press that. Okay, cool. So I had a few interesting resonances myself, but I'm not going to let on what they are because I want to find out how you got on. So where did you feel small intestine 19 resonate? Let's have a look. Did you feel it just in your ear, down the neck and the arms, a general feeling of calmness, or releasing your jaw, which is another major actor or action, or maybe you felt some other thing happening. Let's just see how you... This is so interesting because even though it's a major point for treating the ear, in fact, it's called palace of hearing, lots of you felt it down through your neck and arm, and lots of you also had a secondary effect of it, which is calming the spirit. So let's have a look at the action of it. This is the exciting point about the exciting thing about this point is that it's actually the meeting point of the small intestine, the triple heater, which we talked about first, but also, check it out, the gallbladder channel, which runs all the way from the feet all the way up the sides of the head. So it's a super important point because all those yang channels join there, and that's why this point is so powerful for releasing the neck and arms, and also super good for just giving you a general feeling of calmness. So have a look at that. That's one of the features of it is all those channels meet. It benefits the ears. It's called palace of hearing. It's used for all kinds of ear problems, but it also calms the spirit as well as reducing pain and stuff like that. So we also had quite a few other things happening. That's pretty exciting too. But they're the main action to the point, and it's something we use a lot in Shiatsu. It's very good for all kinds of things, great in the side position, and if you've ever had Shiatsu from me and you've had any issues like that in the jaw or whatever, you definitely would have felt me work that point. Okay, so I think we should use that point as a starting place for our head routine for today, and we can do a special on the jaw and the face. We'll work around from the jaw using these very powerful points. Are you ready? Let's rub our hands together. Let's start off with small intestine 19. I'm just going to start off very gently there. I'm opening my jaw a little bit more, going a little bit deeper in, relaxing my arms, my shoulders. Okay, and from there, what we're going to do is we're going to move out this way, underneath the cheekbones. This is actually the small intestine channel. We're going underneath here until we get to this point just underneath the eye. Can you feel that point? That's stomach 3. That's a really good point, again, for releasing the sinuses, good for all kinds of problems in the face and the head. Nice, gently, we're going to work from here. Small intestine 19. All the way around. Around here to large intestine 20, which we haven't actually officially done yet. We'll do that in the autumn coming up. That'll be in about 15 weeks time. We'll get to these points here. It's large intestine 20, really good for clearing the nose. And if we now then go down through the upper teeth, I'm right in the jaw there. Sorry, not the jaw, at the top of the teeth where the gums are. I'm pressing around there, and that's actually an internal pathway of the large intestine. So we want to really release that. We'll get back to the jaw again, and now I'm going to go down this way, down to the lower jaw, and this is related to the stomach channel. And also we can add in a bit more fire element stuff, because if I'm pressing in here, the tongue root is right underneath here, and this is one of the pathways of the heart channel connected to the tongue and the voice. And this is very relaxing to work the jaw, the stomach channel with the jaw with the fingertips, and then gently press in and relax the tongue. I can't speak when I'm doing it. Relax the tongue and press in with the thumbs. You got it? It's a very, very relaxing technique to do. Okay. There we are. Now, if you just contrast the lower part of your jaw and your face now, doesn't it feel different from the upper part? So now we're going to work upwards. Let's do a little bit of work on the eyes. I'm just going to press gently around the eyes. And actually just on the outside of the eyes here is where the gallbladder and the triple heater channels meet. So they come right up here, they meet here. That's where they start their journey down in the arms and down the legs. And this is a really important area for working those channels on the outside of the body, and they connect directly with the eye. So I'm just pressing around the orbit of the eye here, and then relaxing the eyes themselves. Okay, good. So now we've got the sides of the head, done the front bit that comes down here, and the jaw. So now we've done the sides, and we want to follow that up by just pressing on the sides of the head. Shakura did a great bit of work on this last week. I really enjoyed this in the class. Just pressing here. And remember she's saying that she was surprised when she learned Shiatsu just how strong the skull is to actually take pressure. It's quite a strong structure here, and it's really quite good to release any tension around here down into the neck. Excellent. Okay, and that just leaves the forehead. So we're going to tap the forehead, go over the top, and then just a little bit of work on the neck and we will be done. So just going to check out my face. I think that's it. Yep, feels pretty good to me. So let's do the back of our necks now. I'm going to use some tapping and squeezing. So here we have bladder 10. Remember that famous point? So we're going to let our head float up. We're going to tap down the bladder channel, and then we come out a little bit into here. That's called bladder 20. Remember that point for the eyes. So tap down there, and I like to do this, squeezing in with the heels of the hand. On the out breath, squeezing down. Okay, very good. All you need to do now is just tap out and shake out any tension that we've released in the head and get it down the rest of the body. So let's just throw out our hands and shake the legs, shake it up down. Body. Okay, excellent. So now let's just check in and see how different we felt when we do this exercise than we did an hour ago. Remember? So feet shoulder width apart. Float the head up. And we're going to relax the pelvis, relax the knees, relax the feet. And we are going to do this breathing exercise. Breathing in. Whoa, doesn't that feel different? Breathe out, floating up. Okay, feel that connection with the earth. And floating up from the head. Connecting with the yin of the earth and connecting with the yang of the heavens, floating up. Okay, excellent. Well, I hope you enjoyed the class as much as I did. Had a great time. It's great to be back. Absolutely loved this Wednesday class. I've got some exciting news as well. You may know that obviously we started classes during the pandemic. We've been running them every single week since the beginning of the pandemic, and it's been a massive change for us here at the Shiatsu Centre. And what we've done is we've actually formed, the school is starting up again in the autumn, and we've actually formed a workers cooperative. So we're all working, the 5 of us are all working cooperatively now. And any day you'll be getting an email from us just with some news about that, because we're going to use our experience of these Wednesday classes, which has been such a wonderful thing. We're going to use that, and in the autumn we're going to create like a community membership where we can fund the Wednesday classes, we can keep them going, and also give you more insights into Shiatsu for your own health. And we're also going to create a community for practitioners as well. So we've got all kinds of ideas of doing in-person classes and integrating them with live streams and video content and everything like that. So it's been very exciting for us. We've formed this kind of energy group between us as a result of the stresses of the pandemic. And we're taking that forward really positively to hopefully making Shiatsu so much more accessible to everyone. So watch your inbox, look out for that email. We're preparing to send that out in the next few days. Okay, so now we need to just check in and see how we are doing. I'm going to just find out how you are now. If I can find it, we've got so many different polls here.
That was lovely. I really love the point here on the swan.
Yes, swarm testing 19. It's a great point, isn't it?
Yes.
It's really good. It's so, I didn't realize quite how calm it can be. If you just gently press it in,
Yes.
it really is. I was surprised that so few people actually recorded. In fact, general feeling of calmness was by far the biggest vote, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks ever so much for looking after the
Look, everybody's very balanced.
Yes, they are. We only had a few people about the same. I just encourage you to keep going with the exercises. Great, lovely to see all your comments in the chat. Thank you very much. I'm going to put a heart in the chat as well to you, and look out for the email in the next few days about our plans for the summer and the autumn at the Shiatsu College in Orange. Okay.
Lovely. Bye-bye.
See you next week.